Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Craig Burrell, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Petty Officer Benjamin Hale. This evening, we are honoured to welcome Second World War veteran Mr. James Gribbett. Jim enlisted in 1943 in Canberra, Queensland, at the age of 20. He served until 1946 with the 58th 59th Australian Infantry Battalion in New Guinea and Bougainville. On the 12th of February this year, Jim celebrated his milestone 100th birthday. Jim, we thank you for your service and for joining us here this evening. We are also honoured to acknowledge Lieutenant General Yo Woon Tae, Vice Chief of Staff Army, Republic of Korea, accompanied by Major General Natasha Fox, Deputy Chief of Army Australia, and the accompanying delegation. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Charlton Christian College, Fassifern, New South Wales. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Please be seated if you can do so. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the hearts of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Private John Arthur Bird. John Bird was born on the 8th of May 1908 in Tyldon, Victoria, the son of John and Minnie Bird. By the time of the Second World War, Bird was working as a cook. After his marriage to Molly Twigg in 1927, the pair had built a home in the Melbourne suburb of Ivanhoe. John Bird enlisted for service with the 2nd Australian Imperial Force on the 25th of June 1940. He was 32. After being posted to the 2nd 40th Battalion in July, a month later, Private Bird was transferred to the 2nd 24th Battalion and graded as a cook. In November, Bird embarked from Melbourne aboard the troop ship Strathmore, bound for overseas service. In early 1941, the 9th Division, of which the 2nd 24th Battalion was part, moved into Cyrenaica in North Africa to complete its training. Despite the successes of the British offensive at the start of the year, when the German Africa Corps led an Axis counterattack, the 9th Division fell back to Tobruk. The 2nd 24th entered Tobruk on the 10th of April and helped to defend the fortress for the next 8 months, manning the Red Line and participating in bitter fighting in the salient. In October, the majority of the 9th Division was evacuated by sea. The 2nd 24th was evacuated on the night of the 20th of October, sailing to Alexandria, before being transferred to Palestine and Syria for rest and garrison duties. By July 1942, German and Italian forces had reached El Alamein in Egypt, dangerously close to Alexandria. The war in North Africa had become critical, so the 9th Division was rushed from Syria to the Alamein area, where it held the northern sector for almost 4 months as the British 8th Army was reinforced for an offensive under a new commander. The division's orders for the first attack were issued on the 7th of July. The 26th Brigade advanced along the coast, driving a wedge between the sea and German positions by capturing the feature known as Tel El Isa, which ran northwest between the railway line and the sea. The main offensive took place in late October and early November. By the end of the October, 26th Brigade had suffered heavy casualties and disengaged from the fighting on the night of the 31st of October, after being successfully relieved by the 24th Brigade. This retreat took place too late for Private John Arthur Bird, who was recorded as being killed in action on the 31st of October. He was 34 years old. Today he is commemorated on the Alamein Memorial. His name is listed on the roll of honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. A photograph of his name, listed on the Alamein Memorial in Egypt, is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private John Arthur Bird, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We'll remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.